Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Learn to Play. So this is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. Today, I got absolutely wrecked by a guy by the name of Mario. Mario's a meching Terran player, really powerful. Top 16 in Grandmaster for NA. And he's just been, I think he's like 90% win rate against me right now. And what I'm going to be doing right now is basically testing builds. I'm just in single player, and I'm going to be trying to stress as much as possible the weaknesses of his build and the strengths of his build. So right now what I'm doing, I'm just going to basically contextualize everything that I'm doing, and I'm going to try to basically find a build that deals with him. So everything that I would be doing by myself to prep this build, I'm going to do it right now in front of you guys. And I'll explain, or at least try to explain the build as much as possible. It's going to be a lot of testing for me. And what I'm going to be doing is lining up a lot of the timings that I have here against the replays of Mario and seeing whether or not I have good relative unit sizes. That's what I really want to be worrying about, along with being able to keep up with all the regular stuff that you would kind of see in ladder. This looks kind of a weird placement for a supply depot, and also this one, but what I'm trying to do is protect against over here and make sure there's no drops that come in. So if there are buildings on an angle where they're touching the corners, SCVs can walk through it, but things like Hellions cannot. So it's just a little added bonus against Hellions. Okay, protecting against Reapers in this early game stage. Just gonna go up here. Again, so you can see the corners. They're touching, but nothing else. That means SCVs can go through. I need to get these Marines in the beginning stage, because I need to stay safe against any of the shenanigans that he can throw on me. Now here's what I'm thinking. Again, corners touching. Losing out on my medevac timing. So this doesn't go right. I'm behind by like 14 seconds for this gas. So I can't do this. I can't add on that reactor at that time. Is there anything I can do? 14 seconds is a lot. 14 seconds is definitely a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. So just to expedite things, what I'm going to do here is watch the replay solo, and then I'm going to actually spin it to the time right before I want to alter my build. So I'm going to add on the reactor after the starport has started the medevac. We're going to take command here. I'll let it go a little bit more. Not always getting this eBay at this timing. Just in this game. I don't like that. I want to be able to get Vikings here. And I want to non-stop. Maybe we do it like that. Oh, that makes sense. A little bit. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm just trying to work the perfect build order right now to see what flows right and what feels good and what I'm protecting against and what I'm not. I can just fast forward this like crazy. Okay. I wonder if there's a cut I can do, maybe? No. So there's no reason to rush this out. That's what I'm finding out. Because I don't have the supply to do that. Maybe less. We're safe. Okay, so this keeps us safe against everything. Now we're just going to keep getting Hellions. Because Hellions keeps us very safe as well. I want the second gas. Do we want a second factory here? How do we want to do this? Do we even like this? Or do we want to rely on Hellions for this beginning stage? I almost feel like we should rely on Hellions and actually switch this over. Okay. I'm undecided whether I want to do another factory, or actually get stim very quickly. So let's go back to our games together. Me and Mario. See what we can do. I want to make sure. Let's find out where he's weakest, when he's strongest. I'm actually going to get a notepad out for you guys right here. I'm going to copy it down. So that's how he does it. He goes reactored barracks into a reactored Hellion. So he has a Hellion count pretty fast already. So I need to deal with the mass Hellions, and at the same time I need to deal with these kind of cheeky drops that pop in. See, we're not playing the best. So how do I combat, the question is, how do I want to combat these Hellions? Because the Hellions are keeping him very safe in this early game stage. He's trading a lot, he's doing a lot actually, all around. And I'm not able to keep up. A lot of people have been going siege tanks, but siege tanks are getting thwarted really easy to just mass numbers because of how many units they are. Or how many minerals and gas it takes to just pop this out. Yes, it has a lot of potency, but it's the fact that how do I get my siege tank from here to over here to start sieging you? And if I just have a ton of units out, I'm going to be able to kite everything else. So any Marines walking across, any Hellions walking across, I'll have enough Hellions to deal with you. So that's the thought process in the early game stage that I've been seeing. So I want to get Hellions for myself, but I need to stay safe. So here's the thing. I need to stay safe against drops, Hellions, Banshee. I want to make Hellions plus Vikings, right? We want like 3 Vikings out probably to stop any of the drop stuff, to stop the Banshees, and then we're going to have our own Hellions along with some Marines. So the question is, how many Marines do we want? How many Marines? Because we have to realize that every single Marine that we lose, or that we make, could have been a potential Hellion right there. Right? We could have just switched it over on the reactor. And also we have to keep in mind, for the game, deal with Reapers. So some sort of mass Reaper opening. So we can't get the reactor super early, else we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So a lot of times we just rely on our engineering bay timing to stop the Banshees, although it's definitely not easy by any means. Let's take a look at the income. He's ahead ever so slightly because he got his command center out a lot sooner. I think this is fine. But the real question comes down to, I want to go Hellions, and then what do I go after that? And I think it's just stim. We continue our Marine count, and we just go Marine Hellion in this beginning stage. So I also have to worry about mid-game. I have to worry about Hellbat drop on Army. And we can save that with getting a Viking count. Stim fast, combat shield, and our own medevacs as well. So, I mean, this is all requiring a lot of minerals and a lot of gas, and I think we'll be actually safer now that we have a Hellion count. So maybe we just rely on Hellions at the beginning stage. Also, how many Hellions is enough, or how many Hellions before I switch into like a mass barracks count? And maybe I do go for fast 3 command centers, something like that, you know? Maybe I do. The other problem is, what if he does like a Marine combat shield timing with his siege tanks? He could definitely do that. Definitely do that to stop. Man, it's tough. There's a lot. So it's almost like we don't want our Hellions to ever die. We don't want our Hellions to ever go down. So, okay, let's keep going on and see his build. He's getting a 10-minute third. Okay. Look, he just uses them as if they're nothing. I think that needs to be punished a lot harder. But he just springs to action so fast it feels. You know? With the Hellions on the field. Let's go with the army. I mean, he does stuff like this to keep me in my base. His army is actually bigger. So what if I'm able to... Okay, so also the siege tanks are at an opportunity cost of those Hellions. That's why I was saying, like, man, it really stinks the fact that I can't get siege tanks if I'm going these Hellions because I want pressure. And that's why I was thinking maybe I get a second factory. If I get a second factory, I might as well go mech though, right? Not go stim and everything like that. It's hard though. It's really hard to tell. Or maybe I go Marauder Hellion in this early stage. That's another option. It's so mineral heavy though. It's very difficult for me to do that. Very difficult for me to do that. I mean, the spend alone is just astronomically high. It would be hard. I definitely think this Marine Marauder thing doesn't work out nearly as well. I don't deal with his... I'm not able to put pressure on because the Hellions are just zoning me out every single time. So I think I need my own Hellions. Let's look at another replay. See how potent he can be. Let's take a look at this one. This is super short. Okay, this was a wash. Dang. Look at this one. I remember that last game, and I just died to the beginning stage. Just the constant Hellion harass has been crushing me. Oh man, I had a sick play right here. Do one of these babies. Oh yeah. Well, what's crazy is I still lose this. Throws down a third command center immediately. And see, I'm not able to capitalize on this because I don't have Hellions going all the way over to the side, other side. Like, I don't have the mobility. I can't go cross map. Like, how can I actually punish this? I have to punish this literally like 2 or 3 minutes later. That's a big problem. It's a big problem. Okay, so we're going to go Hellions instead of siege tanks. Now, he threatens us now if I go Hellions instead of siege tanks, right? Because now I need some sort of power unit. What is that power unit going to be? Is it going to be Marines, let's say? Marines get eaten alive to other Hellions. But maybe that's, you know, my strength to it all. Am I going to go Marauders or something like that? Still, I'm worried, like, he puts two siege tanks right here. I think it has to be Marines. Because I need to be able to deal with, like, Banshee Viking a little bit better. and the extra Marines will help me out. And that way, let's just think, if I'm doing that, I don't need all my gases, right? Because I'm obviously on Hellions for the majority of everything. I can get my upgrades a little bit faster. I can get my third base a little bit faster if I'm just relying on that. So let's go to, how do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? Because we're going to be getting stim a little bit earlier, or combat shields or something we're going to get earlier. So what do we want to get earlier? Probably stim and combat shields, right? Both of them. So let's just go up to 2 gas. Keep our minerals safe. Let's find out. Let's see what we can do. Let's go back in here. We get the medevac in the beginning to keep us not only safe, but keep our Marines alive against like Banshee play. And then we also have like an aggressive option. That's why I've been getting the very fast medevac. Okay. Let's take it from here. Okay, let's see. Let's say we don't see an attack, or we're not worried that there's some sort of attack coming into us right now. We don't have to get the eBay and stuff. Just get all this. We don't need to get the early Viking. Oh, this build now works out perfectly. So I can get the Viking here, or I can get stim. Actually, let's get stim there. And then it's just non-stop Hellions and Marines. Let's get our second gas. I'm not yet sure why we're getting our second gas. It's just to produce off of our starport, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily the right thing to do yet. I'm not convinced. Like, what are we getting? Probably Vikings. Definitely makes sense. But these Hellions are keeping us safe. Right? Okay, let's get a reactor on that. And I just want to mass produce Hellions and see counts at different times, even though I can probably do it mathematically too. But this is the first time I've ever done it, so let me just try, and then I'll go into the replay and talk about it. And I also would like to see when stim finishes and stuff like that. So now I have a lot here. Stim is going to finish soon. As I said, unconvinced of this. I just feel like getting any units here is very hurtful unless I absolutely need to. I guess a couple of Vikings, but I shouldn't get this reactor on here. I've definitely thought about it twice. And I like this, just constant production out of shitload of Hellions, that's for sure. Okay, stim finishes at around 930. Can I do anything with that? Let's see my Marine count. It's actually a pretty good Marine count. I can go for a double medevac drop here if I really wanted to. At 9:30, double medevacs, stim finishes. That's pretty potent. Meanwhile, I have a Hellions running around all the field. Okay. I'm finding... Okay, so that's really potent, man. It's off of only one barracks this whole time, and it relies on also me not losing anything, so that's a little bit difficult. But what I was able to see is I shouldn't get an add-on here, although I definitely have... I'm strapped for gas, that's for sure. So let's go into the replay and let's talk about it. But I'm strapped for gas for a little bit, But the fact that I'm able to constantly get the Hellions and the Marine, and have a pretty nice SCV count and stuff like that, that's looking really good. And I'm already having a much higher supply count by 10 minutes than normal. So we can do double medevac drop with stim at 9:30. 9:30, probably like 10 minutes given travel time. So here's the thing. When I got 2 gas, I had a huge surplus, but I'm strapped for gas so badly in this early stage because I'm trying to get stim. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get stim. I'm trying to get Vikings out. So this starport right now is strictly for the medevac. So what if I don't get this medevac and I just go straight for the Viking? Because right now I am a little bit worried, even though the medevac keeps me very safe and it puts on aggressive potential. I am a little bit worried. Yes, it's a 25 gas difference, but that's actually a lot. That's 12.5 seconds. The other option is to also get another Vespian gas and only put like 1 on it to have 4. I'll actually have 2 here and 2 here. That's what I'm really planning on. I really like the stim super early. It's difficult. It's definitely difficult. I love the count so far. Also at 9:30, barracks takes 65 seconds, and then, so if I start my barracks production, no, I can't start my barracks production because this is constant. So you can see the Hellion count is actually eating into my production count pretty badly. So that's the opportunity cost over there. And how am I going to start up my barracks count? That's the real question. That is the real question. I mean, if I'm doing something like this, I might as well get the armory as well. I'm getting so many Hellions, right? Like, it makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Okay, so let's think about this. The armory is a lot. A lot of money. A lot of gas. So this is I might be able to do constant Viking production with this after I get stim, but it's going to start like right now. At 7 minutes is my first Viking. And that's really rough, man. That is really rough. That's why I almost want to put another, I almost want to get another gas here. Let's just look at the spend. So, no, it's just because of burst spending. I was going to say, like, let's look at the spend of a Viking, how much gas I need per minute. This gives me 120, based on it being 42 seconds. It's around like 100 gas per minute, right? It's around 100 gas per minute. I think it's a little bit more. So I only need 1 to constantly produce out of here. The real question is when I switch over and say enough is enough with the Hellion count. That's what I think. So let's go on, check out a little bit later. Units tab is 6, 8. I mean, this is great. I think I have a really, really nice count here. Great army size. Also, we have to think like this is potential. This this is eating into like my third command center or something like that. Because the spend on Hellions is just so much. We're looking at 100 minerals for every 30 seconds. That means 200 minerals per minute is the spend. So this factory alone is spending 400 minerals per minute. And if you look at it, I'm only getting 1,000. So the other 600 is going to supply depots. I'm probably spending 200, maybe more, maybe like 300 or 400 per minute on just supply depots. Probably around like 200 to 300. I'm going to say that. 200 to 300, and then I have an excess, but my Marines are taking some, of course. Okay, let's go back and just see right around here. Okay, let's take control over here. Okay, can I defend everything right now? What if I got like a bunker or something like that? That make me a lot safer. Well, what am I really afraid against? I think with all these Hellions I can deal with everything that can come my way, no? I only need the bunker if they're outmassing me in the amount of Hellions. Let's say we do the switch over now. What am I looking to accomplish if I switch over right now? So what does this say? Oh wow, you can start producing a lot of this stuff. So this is going to be the big, wherever I go here, however I proceed, there's going to be a big time where I need to rely on my mass units to keep me safe against everything. Else I will die. So is this going to be enough? That's the question. Do I even need 4? Yeah, I probably need 4. Four gases, that is. And I can probably get a command center during this time. But remember, I'm on the same amount of units. So this same amount of units has to keep me safe this whole time. We're going to look how long they're keeping me safe, by the way. I mean, no matter what, our opponent has to go through something like this too. But still, it's just rough. We don't have an eBay, do we? No, we don't. Which is a big problem. We need to fit that in somewhere. But I like the build overall. I think it has a lot of potency in that mid-game stage for double medevac drops, which are probably the strongest. Obviously, we have a lot of Hellions to do damage. And now we're switching over into bio. Switching over pretty nicely, too. We gotta fit the eBays in, though. Right? 1230, we have stim, we have combat shields. Okay, so this all seems fine. We just need to fit the double 1-1 in, or just a single eBay and then let it funnel. Where are we going to get that gas? That's the question. It's always the question. Where are we going to get that gas? I like the build though. I think it deals with my opponent pretty well. So really quick, let's go back to our game with Mario. See what he's threatening yet again. And see the problems of like Marine Marauder, basically. See, he's constant pressing on me. I'll have Hellions to keep up with him, especially by 8 minutes now. I'll already have my Hellion production like underway, be able to deal with all this. See, I'm trying to deal with it with the siege tank. Siege tank's good and all, it just it caps really hard, you know? It gets to a point where it just can't keep up with everything. I mean, look at how slow and bulky it is. And it's a big siege, it's a big suck. Like, this gas could have been upgrades, this gas could have been better units and stuff like that. And it's really not doing all that much damage. So look, now I can actually press really hard on my opponent. I can do things about it. Before I wasn't able to. Yeah, this is much better. Okay. So right now is the time I would just about get stimmed too. It's 9:30 I would get stimmed. So this probably won't do nearly as much. Same thing. That means this drop doesn't make too much sense to go in at like 8 minutes and start attacking things. When, you know, 1 minute and 30 seconds later, it makes a lot more sense to just wait. And now I can just mobilize. I had like, God, like 14 or something like that. Mobilize and do damage. Even get my own third as I react. And I should be able to, I mean, I have a pretty sizable army. Should I get like single Marauders? No. Marauders are so gimmicky. I was thinking like, you know, Marauder to tank the damage against the Hellions, but Marauders don't really put out that much damage against Hellions, which makes me really not like doing this push. And oh my god, like look at how good my push would be with the Hellion Marine and 2 medevacs at 10 minutes and 20 seconds compared to this flimsiness. Like this is nothing. I would be able to deal with this so easily. So easily. Okay. That's for sure. And then I'm switching over behind all of this. That makes sense. I like it. Now the question is, when do I need 1-1? When is a good time to have 1-1? When is a good time to have an eBay? That kind of stuff. So let's find out, and let's copy everything down. So I need probably, let's just say 3 reactors, 2 tech labs. I need eBay plus 1. I need, I'm looking at all these transitions, so the amount of gas I need for the transition. So 3 reactors is 150 gas, 2 tech labs is 50 gas, eBay and plus 1 is 100 gas, so it's 250, 300 gas to make this switch. 300 gas isn't that much, actually. So maybe we do throw down a second refinery pretty quickly directly after that, and we just start mining. Right, because this is the point in time where we really want to be switched over. Let's check our other build once again, our other replay that we just did. And there's going to be a diminishing return with the Hellions for sure. I would say when the siege tank count gets high. So probably around like 10 minutes we want to stop getting Hellions, which makes perfect sense. Why am I saying 10 minutes? It's because I'm thinking in my head, well, siege tank production is normally starting around like 6 minutes to 7 minutes. And siege tanks, they take 45 seconds to pop out, right? But really, because the gas is limiting them a lot, yeah, I can average about a minute for each of them. 45 seconds to a minute, right? It's going to fluctuate based on, oh, I need to get medevacs out here. I need to get my upgrade here. I need to get stim. I need to get combat shield. So by the time they're attacking over, if you think about it, if they start at 6 minutes and just keep counting intervals of 45 seconds, I'm thinking like 4 or 5 is when Hellions are going to be shut down pretty completely. So 4 or 5, you just, take the calculator out. So 45 seconds times, let's just say 4 to be conservative because we're saying it's really powerful at 4. 180 seconds, divide that by 60, that's 3 minutes. So 3 minutes plus 6 minutes is 9 minutes. Then they have to cross the map. So they're going to have 4 siege tanks on our side of the map at around 10 minutes. And that's why I'm saying I cut Hellions at that point because there's no reason to keep going. They already have the siege tank count to deal with it. I've already been, making sure I have a huge army count, and also I have stim. I have 2 medevacs out, that kind of stuff. I should be able to prepare for that pretty easily. Okay. So I'm looking at how many gases I want in this build, and when the barracks are going to be popping up. Okay, just constant stuff. Yes, I like it. 10 Hellions out in the field. Okay, stop here. 9 minutes and 20 seconds is when I switched off. Does that make sense? 9:20. Let's take a look at the units. So let's just say we're up against 4 siege tanks. Is 12 Marines, 12 Hellions going to be good enough against 4 siege tanks and a plethora? And 2 Vikings and a medevac, is that going to be enough against 4 siege tanks and just regular Marines, probably with combat shield or stim? Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be plenty. To be honest. That looks really, really strong. So now the question is, how, if I get all of this, obviously I'm trying to constantly produce out of this. So let's just say this refinery is going to account for this starport, okay? Let's see how long it takes us to get these barracks up. So, at around, because I need combat shield as well, wow. That's a lot I need for gas. It actually looks like I'm okay right here. So maybe I just need 1 gas. And to throw on like a 2nd or 3rd gas. And go up to 3 gases when I want to constantly have the starport out. Or constantly have the starport making stuff. So that being said, we're going to get our 2nd and 3rd gas. When's a good time we want our 2nd and 3rd gas? We're going to be floating a lot of minerals and stuff like that, of course, because we're just switching over completely. We're going to throw our command center down. I think we can get our 2nd and 3rd gas probably somewhere around, I don't know, let's go back to 8 minutes and find out. Let's find out like how we're prepping this. So we want our 2nd and 3rd gas when? See if our barracks are going to be confined to being naked for a little bit. It doesn't look like it's the case. So maybe we want even our starport and our factory to be making add-ons for us. So this, it's about 30 seconds faster. So let's try to do that. Let's try to do that instead of having it constantly producing stuff. So our factory is producing this. Then we're going to produce another 2 barracks. Our gas is definitely stressed here. We need +1 as well. So let's get our 2nd and 3rd gas at 9 minutes. The reason why I'm saying 9 minutes is because it'll prep us for double starport double starport medevacs, and we'll have 5 barracks up. And also I need to fit in that +1, and then we'll kind of figure it out from there. So I think this is the new play for TvT. We're just getting a lot of Hellions to keep up and be able to do counter pressure in the beginning stage, keep up with other Hellions, because we're noticing that the siege tank is actually the worst unit to make in the early game stages. It's not the worst. It basically says you're super safe, but it also says you're not really pushing until like 10 minutes in. And I should be able to stop 10-minute pushes. The problem, though, is what if they don't push at 10 minutes? What if they just keep massing up in siege tanks and my Hellions are just sitting ducks? That means I need to be aggressive against siege tanks. Does that make sense? Just saying let's be aggressive against siege tanks makes sense. And I'm actually going to say yeah, because I'm going to switch a variation to this and really look at like armory drop and Hellbat drops against this very style, and then have the stim push forward if they're going to do that. I think this will work. And we just switch over, we get our armory around maybe when combat shields finishes. Maybe we do a combat shield timing, something like that. And then we drop into our opponent and, you know, maybe 2 medevacs worth of Hellbats, and we're going to be able to do a lot of damage. I think that works. And we just go for a trade at that mid-game stage, and then afterwards, yeah, that's perfect. So against siege tanks, where they're just massing and massing and massing, we're going to go for this trade. We're going to keep trying this. We're going to do a Hellbat drop. And for someone that's not playing defensive and all over the map, we're going to have the maximum amount of units out, and then our switch seems pretty seamless. Our switch seems really, really powerful because we have Hellions to keep up. In case they do anything blunderous, we could instantly start attacking them. Everything seems really put together. Obviously, we have our early game kind of defended with these Vikings. The transition seems very reasonable because we're going to be hitting our combat shield. At the same time, we hit all of our unit production, so it's not like we get these blank Marines that don't really do that much. We constantly have important units out on the field that can do stuff, right? Our Hellions are fully locked and loaded. They're ready to go. I mean, they could have Blue Flame, but for the most part, they're very fast. They do a lot of damage against our opponent's Marines. And then once our Marines pop out, they're locked and loaded to go. They have stim. They got combat shields. They're going to have their upgrades. They're going to have their medevacs with them. I think this makes a ton of sense. I think this is going to be good. So, yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. So, Hellion production, stop at 9 minutes. At 9 minutes, we're also going to get our 2nd and 3rd gas, get 5 barracks. During the 5 barracks, we're going to be making a lot of add-ons and stuff like that. That's when we get our 3rd base, and we just basically mass up. And probably around 8 minutes, we're going to put pressure on opponents and see if they're going to be able to just play defensive or they're actually going for a push. If they're playing defensive, going for the 3rd base, we're going to scan a couple times to see. If they're playing defensive, we're going to go for that Hellbat drop. So right here, is it right here? When do we want to really push on this? Because I need some. Oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking how we can fit in the armory because we're still on 1 gas. So maybe we go 8 minutes, a geyser. Will that work? So 8 minutes a geyser instead of 9 minutes, and we don't go 3 gases because we're going to have the versatility of either going to armory or having a bank for all this stuff. So I think we'll do 1 gas at 8 minutes instead of 2 gases at 9 minutes to have that bank, the ability to go to the armory and keep up. All right, that seems very reasonable. We do the Hellbat drop, or we just continue on and play standard. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is obviously me coming up with a build to deal with a very difficult TvT situation. And this is just me going through my thought process and stuff like that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And as always, do what you love what you do. I'll catch you guys next time.